Okay, so you guys were questioning who this Cherron Phillips was. So I looked to find you some additional information, and I was able to actually find some information on this rawstory.com, which happens to be pretty decent in terms of what they find out here. Now, of course, you already are aware of the trial. There's a picture of her here. This will be linked in the description so everybody can read the entire thing. But I wanted to draw your attention to a couple of different places in here that I think you will find really interesting. So, although the entire story is actually really fascinating and you can go back and look at it for yourself, I'm going to start kind of here in the middle to let you guys know a couple of really interesting things about this party. So she was part of one of the newer segments of the movement that we call the Moorish. And this was really fascinating to the press, to the government officials that were involved, because this was back when she was indicted was in 2014. So this was really before the movement really got moving. And as of today, they're responsible for some of the laws being changed, as a matter of fact, because of them being so prevalent with doing these really horrendous things in terms of placing fake liens against people. But so let me start here. The closely watched trial lasted 2 days, after which Phillips was convicted of 10 counts of retaliating against a federal official by filing false claims.
The deal is Moors have got to start costing them to mess with us. What we must learn is the methods to do it. You know, and that's how you come with them. And no matter what they do, you come at them like that. So if they act, guess what? The ultra-virus statute no longer protects them. Then when his wife goes to the Mac machine and starts sticking stuff in, this Mac machine starts going, oh, excuse me. Then she go home and say, he's really messing up my stuff. I mean, what's going on, Fred? And Fred go down and see he's got this lien against them. They can't sell their house. They can't do stuff. Now they're upset because you ain't supposed to do that to them. They're supposed to do it to you. Now it ain't so comfortable to keep writing these Moors tickets, is it? Meanwhile, while they held you up, you sent them a bill, so they get a bill to the law department. And you're commanding payment in lawful United States currency. Then you start issuing liquidations on them. Garnish their pay and all that kind of stuff. They will not be happy campers. I guarantee you that. But the deal is Moors have got to learn to do this on a massive scale. The deal is Moors have got to start costing them to mess with us. What we must learn is the methods to do it.
She will be sentenced in October, which of course she was. We know she got the 7 years. Could spend up to 10 years, or it's possible she'll only get probation. Well, we see where that ended up. It's hard to know at this point if Judge Michael J. Reagan will make an example of Phillips and give I'm not going to say that, but you can read it, a lengthy prison stay. The Chicago press will no doubt watch that sentencing just as closely as it watched the trial. But in all that media attention, there's one thing about Phillips that's none of the coverage has revealed. Before she was a Moorish facing time, Cherron Phillips was the companion of one of the NBA's most well-known players. Phillips is the mother of Joshua Jamal Anderson, a former college player whose father was one of the most recognizable NBA figures of the 1990s. Nick Anderson was an original member of the Orlando Magic and played on a team with Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway and made the NBA Finals in 1995. Anderson was a member of the Magic for a total of 10 seasons and works for the team as an ambassador today. In 1989, when he was the team's first ever draft pick, Anderson came to Florida from Chicago with amazing basketball skills and a high school sweetheart. And how Cherron Phillips went from Anderson's partner to a convicted you-know-what, facing serious time, is still something of a mystery. Okay, so I'm going to link this so you can read the entire story, but I want to make this mention to you guys. This is going to sound like it's really a strange thing, like it's a fall from grace of some sort, but the truth is, this is how these groups are actually getting people. When people have traumatic things that happen in their lives, they become not just unstable to some extent, but they begin to look for the reasons why things happen. And a lot of times, because they're feeling insecure with their immediate surroundings, with their life in general, they're grasping at anything that will make them feel safe again. They're grasping at anything that will make something that was bad that happened to them make sense. Hence, these groups coming in and pushing their hate agenda. Many times when you're looking for someone to blame for something bad that's happened to you, it's a natural human instinct to project that off of yourself and look in other areas that you can blame. One of the number one places that people who run into these groups start to place all their blame is on our government or the government of the actual location that they're in. Hence, all of these people that really have no idea what these actual movements are about, that are following them, using their spewed nonsense and further spewing the nonsense. This is kind of a psychological phenomenon that goes on with people when their minds weaken because they've been through trauma. So for those of you that have wondered in the past, how do people fall for this stuff? They're being caught at a time in their life where they're insecure already. 9 times out of 10, that is absolutely the case. For those of you that have been watching the Virgo Triad channel for a while, you know that one of my degrees is in psychology. So the very first thing that I wanted to do was try to find out why. What is it about this stuff that is making people really dive in so deeply that often it takes them years to find their way back to the surface again? These rabbit holes are set up to be underground caves that lead in so many different directions and tunnels that it's very, very difficult for them to find their way out of it. And as a result of that, they get stuck there for a long period of time. And it takes a whole lot of fact finding and presenting to them, and often them getting into legal trouble before they start to recognize that something is actually amiss. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys this story. I will link it in the description for you. Um, this way you can look at it for yourself if you're interested. I know a lot of you have questions with regards to different names and all of these things. I am looking into it. I know that it seems very odd, but I can tell you for sure that this party is a completely different party than anyone that we're dealing with currently. As far as who else was in the email or in the video that I put up yesterday, I'm looking into it further. So for those of you that have asked me to look into Devon Phillips further, I am checking that out as we speak. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow as long as my voice holds up. I seem to be losing my voice today. As you guys might hear, it sounds really scratchy, and actually for a while this afternoon, it just completely was almost gone. So I almost seem to be having some form of laryngitis issue, but hopefully that will be taken care of by tomorrow, and we can meet back up in the morning with even more fun information about these crazy individuals. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.